Alright guys, welcome back to Timeless Talks. We are back at the home, the track offices. You are here with your host, your boy Chris, and my boy
Niko, the Puerto Rican Schultz, and we're back from the summer on our very first and special podcast here. To the right of me, I have a swimmer / dietitian that went to the Olympic trials. Her name is Tori. Tori, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. Kind of walk us through your story and how you ended up here at the University of Nebraska.
Okay, so my name's Tori Beeler. I kind of started out swimming because I got hurt in gymnastics. I was a gymnast till the age of 13. I broke my left wrist, and it was the growth plate, so it was an iffy one. And then my right ankle within a week of each other. And the ankle was the second time in a year that I've broken it.
Oh, red flags.
So I did a summer of having a boot all year. And then the next summer, I had a bedazzled cast and a boot again.
While you were 13? This is all while you were 13?
11, I broke the ankle.
Mm-hmm.
And then 12, I broke my wrist. And then 2 weeks later, my ankle.
Oh, yeah. That's
so you were going through it as a child.
Yeah. And then I got my cast off. My coach, gymnastics is kind of... once you're better, quote unquote. And then the day I got my cast off, I was doing the skills without any kind of brace that I broke it on. So, like, I was doing back handsprings on beam, broke it, just snapped.
Bro, why? That's terrible.
I'm sorry to laugh. It's
No, it's funny.
Dramatic.
It's funny. And then so they're 4-hour practices at 12 years old. So I got my cast off. Yeah, I got my cast off in the morning. So around 8, 9, I got to practice at 10 with still 2 hours left. And they were on beam, and she was like, "Okay, take that brace off. It's not going to help you. Go back on beam. Start doing back handsprings." It's like, So it didn't heal right. And then I still had my boot on at the time. I was like, "How am I supposed to do that on beam with the boot?" She was like, "Well, you can take it off." I was like, and at 12 years old, you just do it.
Right.
So that didn't heal right either. So I go back to the doctor, and they're like, "Well, you're kind of messed up." So they didn't release me, and I couldn't do any impact sports. Yeah, still technically can't because I never went back. My brother was swimming at the time. My dad was a swimmer, so he got into swimming, and that was a non-impact sport, and they put me in it, and I hated it because I was bad. I don't like being bad at things, and so I was like, well, might as well get a lot of private lessons because I hate being bad, and I want to be good.
You want to tap in.
Right.
Yeah.
Beast mode.
Yeah. I had a lot of muscle, so I could, like, muscle through the races, and I could, like, win them, but the times just weren't good.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
This is when you're 14?
Yeah, 13.
13 still?
Dang,
Yeah.
bro, that's a long 13, bro. That year is the longest year I've ever seen.
My first swim meet was a long course meet, so it's a 50-meter pool. Compared to college, it's 25 yards.
Oh.
So I did that when I got my cast off and everything, and I still had my boot on, but it was kind of like, we were about to get it off, and it was a little, like, meet, I guess, and the coaches were like, "You can put her in if you want," because had to go to every meet anyway.
Oh, yeah, support teammates.
Might as well cool off because it's like 90 degrees and crying on a, like, pool deck outside because I have a cast on one arm and a boot on another leg. So it was so hot. They're like, "Just put her in a race so she can cool off." So that was my first race, is when I still had a broken foot.
Oh.
So you can cool off?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, they were putting you through a lot, bro.
As a 12-year-old,
11 through 13 was just broken trauma. But, hey, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it made you who you are today.
Yeah.
I mean, looking back at your childhood, what do you think was, like, the most impactful moment, like, that got you where you are right now in Nebraska?
Impactful? Probably when I switched my club teams beginning of junior year of high school. So I was on a club team in Kansas City, and it was good, but it wasn't like the coach wanted me to do freestyle. I wasn't good at freestyle, but he was like, he liked freestyle, so he put me in it so I could be good at freestyle. Mm-hmm. I hated it, and it's still my worst stroke in college. So I was like, well, me and the coach aren't meshing well. Let's switch teams. Didn't really like any of the girls in Kansas City. It was very like, I came into swimming very, very late. Oh, yeah. The swimmers, they're starting at 5 years old. And by 12, they already have their strokes.
And then 13, you're coming in.
Yeah, I'm coming in.
Injured.
Yeah, and at first, it was like, I was the cute kid that wasn't very fast, so it was like, oh, poor Tori. But then I got quick really fast because I had all the high school boys all training me, doing all the private lessons.
Your brother was a swimmer too.
Yeah, my brother was a swimmer too. My goal was to beat him. That was my sole goal. I was like, if I can beat him, I don't care about anything else.
That was definitely fair,
yeah. Yeah. So I switched teams. I was like, I don't want anybody to know me on the team. So I went to Lawrence, Kansas, 45 minutes away, Aquahawks. I came into practice. He was a brand new coach coming from Louisiana, and he had no idea who I was, and I loved it. And I became the junior national swimmer with him.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Back in 14-15, when it was coaches could only start calling you June 1st, going into your senior year. Right. They couldn't do anything official visits, nothing like that until September 1st. My coach told me after that, he was like, yeah, you weren't even on our radar until junior year maybe. And now looking at it, it's they're recruiting the freshmen and everything. So yeah, because all the recruiting changes so much. Yeah. So if I was at that time, I wouldn't even be recruited for here. Because I just progressed very, very quickly. So
that's amazing though that they worked out the way it did. I mean, if you look at everything that happened to you from 11 to 14, and then that when you made that switch from that coach, did you make that commute every day to Kansas, 45 minutes?
Oh yeah. So in the summer it was. Well, I'll start with school. So school, we did double practices, and my coach was like, "Okay, you're in the national group. You have to come." And I was like, "I have school at 7:30, and practice gets done at 6:45 because their pool was right next, connected to most of the kids' high school, so they just walk over. Yeah. And mine's a 45-minute drive on a Kansas I-70 turnpike.
Oh, I know that turnpike.
Yeah. So in traffic with that, Kansas City traffic,
it looking at an hour almost.
55 minutes. Yeah, hour 15 with all the traffic. I was like, I can't do that. He was like, okay, well, let's get you in a weight room or something. Mm-hmm. So my mom finds a gym, and she finds a personal trainer, and she's like, she's a swimmer. She can't go to the morning practices. She needs to do something in the morning. And he was really, really good. He was like, okay, I'm not going to take her on. And because he's MMA, Ethan Benda, just very, you might not know his name, but he's very big personal trainer, very big into MMA. And he only takes on people that are wanting to go up in whatever they're doing. Oh, yeah. Right. And as a 16-year-old, he's probably looking at me like a 16-year-old trying to just have fun. Yeah. And he was like, let me see if I can even accommodate for swimming, because he did all the research on how to train a swimmer.
He's a good trainer.
Yeah. So he was like, okay, when can she do it? And my mom was like, she can do it at 5:15 in the morning. So I started my day at the gym 5:15 in the morning, got done at 6:15, went back home. School starts at 7:30. School gets done at 3:36 because public school, they like to get their money. Yeah. And then I would practice started at 4:30, so I had to run out of school to beat all the school traffic because there's only 2 exits to our school. Mm-hmm. And then I'd have to get on the highway, hope there wasn't traffic, and make it to practice on time.
That 45-minute drive down there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'd be right on time normally, And sometimes if I was like running late or had to talk to a teacher, I'd like put on my suit while I'm driving. Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah.
And that was every day.
That was every day. And then practice would get done around 6:30, a 2-hour practice. I'd get home, depending on how long I wanted to talk to my friends, around 7:30, 7:45. Then I'd get dinner, and then I'd start my homework.
See, that makes sense to me right now, like how you got here and like how you made it to that far. Because at 16, you're doing 5:15 a.m. lifts with an MMA trainer, then making that commute after school, 45 minutes to train, and on top of that, you still have to somehow manage schoolwork with that. Like that doesn't even make any sense, and especially not in high school. That's truly insane. So when you came into college with that mindset that you had in high school, was it more than you expected, like difficulty-wise? Was it less? Or was it the exact same kind of what you dealt with in high school, the workload of everything?
The biggest shock, because I had planned so far in advance in high school. I was like, okay, I need to leave by 3 to get to practice at 3:45 or something like that. And I was like, I'm way early. I don't have to leave the dorms until 3:30.
Oh, so you were good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The amount of time, like, I used to do driving, I was like, I could use this time to do something.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Training wise, it was definitely like different because training styles, I'm sure you guys know, it's like a shift.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was fun. It was fun to learn the shift. At that time, our coaches, Tuesday, Thursdays, afternoons, we do a whole kick practice. I hated kick.
What was the kick practice? What is that?
A kick practice is like, you know how swimmers swim.
Yeah.
You know, have you ever seen like swimmers using a kickboard?
Like the flat board?
Yeah, the flat board, and they're just kicking their feet. 2 hours of that.
Yeah, I knew it.
2 hours of that in kind of different increments, either like doing it for distance wise, so like 10 200s, 3 minutes, or it could even be like underwaters. So you know the Michael Phelps underwater shoot of them just talking about how great they are. So underwaters would be doing a full 25 underwater and just like sets of that. So be like,
if y'all doing kick practices, man,
good
good luck.
That's insane.
That is crazy.
That is truly insane.
That was the biggest shock to me.
Wow. But okay.
Yeah.
My bad. But that is crazy. But going back to when you say you had more free time, what were some things that you started adding onto your life that you did to fill those spaces?
Honestly, I spent more time on schoolwork.
Okay, we like that. We like that.
I like, because what do we call it? Study hall. The study hall.
Right.
I was like, wow, we had mandatory 8 hours. In high school, I was like, just trying to get it done. It doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
You know? I was like, wow, I can actually, like, learn things. Not just do a paper. Yeah.
Dang, okay.
And then how did you compete as a freshman? Then how did you stand up against the other girls and the rest of the Big Ten?
So I did better than I thought. Because usually, like, even as a freshman in high school, with a new coach, I always, like, need a processing year.
Right.
And then the next year is really, really good. So my freshman year, I was recruited for IM. I did do IM. I thought I was recruited for back. Later, Pat tells me, we didn't know what you were going to do. We knew it was IM.
Just bring your in.
We weren't sure. Because I had a good fly time, like a decent fly time. I was getting good at breaststroke at the time, too. But, like, state and everything, I would do backstroke. So I won the 100 back at state, and I won the 200 IM at state. So, like, I was like, those are my events. So I go into, like, our meetings with my goals, and I had 2 IM goal, a 200 back goal and 100 breast goal, because I kind of knew that they were trying to shift me to breaststroke, but I didn't know how big of a shift it was.
Right.
So he was like, we're going to put you in 2 IM, 200 breast, and 100 breast. I was like, I hate the 200 breast. I hate it.
You had two. You had 100 and 200 breasts?
100 and 200 breasts.
How close are those together? Like, does it usually depend on the meet, or?
No, so it's a pretty standard schedule for everybody. Though all 3 of those events are on 3 different days for Big Tens.
That's good, okay.
Yeah, and they kind of like to do it like that. There's very few individuals that we call it the dirty double.
Oh, yeah.
200 fly, 4 IM is one of those dirty doubles.
Yeah, I can't swim, so I mean, I'd be dirty drowning. It'd be all bad.
I actually want to go back on something you just said. You just like completely just brushed past the fact that you said you were a 2-time state champion in high school, 3-time?
6.
6 times? Because you just said it, you were like, yes, I won state in this and this and this, and I'm like, you just completely skipped. Like, you told us how you got recruited, but you never like talked about like your senior year walkers. Like winning state, like what, like
6
from
times.
getting hurt from 11 to 13 to a 6-time state champion. What is that like?
6 times.
So I kind of said how there's like, I have a little processing year freshman year, and then I get really good.
Right.
So I came in as like the freshman that the coach knew I was a good swimmer and really excited to have. And I was doing really good. I was getting all the records because it's high school, and it's like, if you're a good swimmer, you're going to get the records.
Yeah.
So I was doing really good. I was ranked like top 3 in both of my events going into state, I think. It was either... maybe. I think it was somewhere around... I knew it was top 8. I know it was top 8. And as a freshman, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's
very good.
As a freshman, that's pretty good.
As a 14-year-old and 15-year-old, that's great.
She's humble. I like her. It's pretty good. That's phenomenal, honestly.
Yeah, so that was for IM and backstroke. And then I missed top 8 in both of those... the backstroke by 100th of a second.
What?
Yeah, so I got 9th in both of those. And then my sophomore year, we won the 200 medley relay.
Oh, that's...
That was an interesting story. So I had on one tech suit, and Missouri rules are different than USA swimming rules that are different than NCAA rules with all kinds of suits. So my suit... it's really hard to get suits during like springtime because that's when sectionals are for all around the country and everything. So everybody's trying to get a suit. So mine had 2 logos, and 2 logos is like Australian. 2 logos is illegal in Missouri for high school. So I swam in the relay with that, and once like the relay is over, then you can't go back. So we didn't get DQ'd for it. And then my coach was like, someone saw that you have 2 logos. You have to change your suit right now. So it goes, the medley relay, 2 free, 2 IM. 2 heats of each. So in 2 heats, I had to get on a suit that normally takes about 30 minutes to get on. And the events are about 10 minutes apart.
Oh, dang.
So for the... I guess this was in prelims too. So I had a little bit more time, but so I was able to run back to the blocks, get behind my block with a new suit on. It was size too big.
Oh, wow.
And then I was seated 4th, I think. I won prelims.
Okay.
Or no, I got 2nd. Because 5 is my favorite number because I won the event in lane 5.
Okay.
So I got 2nd in prelims, and then finals came around, and my coach looked at me before I went behind the ready deck before you do the big walkout and everything. My coach was like, just fucking win it. Just fucking win it. I was like, okay.
Will do, coach.
Yeah.
And so that was my 2nd win after our relay won, and then I won that. And then the backstroke, I got 2nd to the person I beat in IM. Yeah. which was fun because she won both of those events her freshman year the year before. So
this is your freshman year.
Yeah, we were both freshmen at the same time. We were both sophomores at the same time.
What?
So
So you came out with what? Two gold medals and 1 silver?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then the last relay, I think we got third. So the 400 free relay, we got third.
And that's just 1 year. That's just your freshman year.
Yeah. Though that was my sophomore year.
That was your sophomore year.
Yeah. So freshman year, we got some medals for relays, but no individuals.
Gotcha.
Right.
Sophomore year, 2 golds, a silver, and a bronze.
That's crazy. You just have to brush that dust off.
Exactly.
Get to work. That's crazy. So, I mean, looking at where you're at right now, can you talk us through what your regular day looks like?
It's different every day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So yesterday I was more so at the training table, kind of just doing everything. Today was a lot of meetings with teams. I'm shadowing Lisa, so doing all of her sports. So I went to the golf meetings. I went to baseball meeting, I think, or talked with baseball at some point. We went to softball meeting. Did some collecting of snacks for soccer, things like that. I'm making handouts kind of deal that we're gonna work with. So it's different every day.
They got you around.
Yeah, they got me running around.
I still want to go back though because I know. No, listen, I'm very intrigued. I'm very intrigued in your story and how all this played out. So you said it in college. It took you you thought it was going to take you 1 year to really develop, but you ended up doing better than you thought. So kind of walk us through your sophomore year, and then could you walk us through how 2020 kind of changed everything for you? Because I know before this podcast we talked about how you were planning to go to the Olympic trials. They pushed that back to 2021. So kind of talk about how that really altered your plans and your training through your collegiate years.
Okay, I'll start with the first question. I did better than I thought because I had never ever trained breaststroke ever in my life.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So I ended up I didn't place very well at Big Tens, but time wise, because I did really good at our mid-season meet, my time got me 16th in the Big Ten, top 16 or top 8. 8th best time or 16th, I can't remember, but one of those two.
That's still great.
And then,
top 20.
Yeah. And then the IM, I didn't do as well as I wanted to, but I also didn't do bad. My first prelims, I was in the same heat as Lily King, so she's an Olympian.
Oh,
yeah.
Dang.
You was gonna say that. I was like, okay.
You know?
No, I don't. But she's an Olympian.
She's an Olympian. She won gold in the 100 breast in 2016. She got third.
How old is she?
She's a year older than me.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, y'all was racing.
And this was in 2016. So how old was she?
She had just won gold in the 100 and 200 breast.
Dang.
And you were going you're right next to her.
2 lanes over.
Yeah, I'd be over there sweating in the water.
Right. She's a breaststroker, and I was like, I'm a breaststroker. I was like, I just have to keep up with her for the first 100, and then we'll see what happens. And I'm a flyer dyer, so I go out really fast and then just see what happens.
Right.
I eventually figured out how to do freestyle in IM my senior year. So I saw her on the backstroke turn. I was like, I kept up with her. We turned at the same time, and then I just died. Oh, it was so bad.
Die you held second, or die you went back?
Oh, way back. Way back. I didn't make finals, but it's fine. Sophomore year, I made B final, or B final in both breaststrokes and C final in IM.
Okay, so
from no final to all 3.
Okay.
And then junior year didn't do so hot. It was just a mental game.
Right.
I still made C final in IM, but I was just breaststroke was just a mental game for me, and not good. Senior year, I did B final in 2 IM, 2 breast, and then I don't think I made final in 100 breast because I was still a mind game, but I was doing better. It was a whole process. Yeah. And then so that kind of, I knew that my last meet coming in as a freshman was going to be Olympic trials because I knew it was 2020 trials. I knew I was a senior, and I saw the team, what they did in 2016 is that a lot of their seniors that had trials cuts, they kind of just stayed until June, since our season gets done February, March. So just a little more training, and then they were free and gone. Yeah. So I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. Didn't really work out that way. I got my trials cut 2 months before the cuts came out, so you have a time period to get the times. In 2016, it was 24 months, and then the 2020, they cut it down. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm going into it. I need to add 2/10, and that was the year the mind game started. So I didn't get it for, I guess it was the 18-19 season, and then the 19-20 season, I was like, okay, we have a lot of meets, like long, because you have to get it in long course too. Yeah. It's like, I can do this because we have a lot of meets, and I'm doing a way better like trajectory. I can add 2/10. Yeah. It's going to be easy. Like, I expect to drop. Mm-hmm. And then COVID happened. There were no meets. And we're like, how am I going to do this? And then trials got canceled. And I'm still in Lincoln because I'm going to graduate December 2020. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, do I stay and do I keep training? Because I'm still like going to Orange Theory, running, kind of things like that, just to stay in shape, because I like working out. Right. And I'm like, I don't know if what's happening. Yeah. And I'm still like swimming at this time too. I went back home because it was more of a frequent swim schedule, and we also had long course. We're here, we didn't have long course. So it was kind of like, I'm doing this for fun. If all else, at least I'm in shape for a longer period of time. Right. So I called my coach, I was like, so what do we do? Like, what's happening? Because I don't have eligibility. Oh, yeah. I'm here till December. I have a gap year because my grad program and internship doesn't start until August. I don't have to be in St. Louis until August. What happens? He's like, well, that's kind of your decision. If you want to come with us, we'll train you and we'll get you there. And I kind of decided I would rather train, not add 2/10 and be in shape and say I did everything I could, then always think, what if I tried?
That question mark, right?
Yeah. So I did it. I was mostly just training when, like, the swim season is. There was a few meets where it was like a virtual meet, so they basically did stand-ups and then put their times into whatever system and kind of did it like that. Yeah. It was really odd, didn't really understand it, but so they put me in those. They were like, you're gonna swim in the second heat because the second heat is exhibition. I was like, okay, like, means nothing to me, but it's chance to like sprint, basically go fast. And so I did a little bit of that, and then in fall, mostly training through winter, still training IM just to keep like endurance and all that. And then the girls too. The senior was more of a 2-flyer, and then the next oldest was a sophomore, and we had one lane, so she never really figured out how to lead a lane. So I was kind of like her and the new freshman, because there was 2 or 3 freshmen at the time. So I was basically just teaching them how to do IM group, what's expected. Right. And then once they got done with Big Tens, we more focused on 100 breast. So that's when we started really going into very, very sprint focused. We started doing meets in maybe March.
Of 2021?
Yeah, of 2021. And we did a meet, just kind of like feeling what it is to race, be behind a block, doing long course, because that's a feat in itself. You don't have that wall. I love my walls. So I did that meet. I did a second meet with the team there. And then it was kind of, I had 2 other meets that I could do, and then there was this maybe meet in Iowa. And it was kind of like a last minute thing, and my coach was like, we got you in. They're only letting certain people in, but I got you in. Let's get you there now. So I figured out on a Wednesday that I was in. I left Thursday night. I swam Friday morning, and we had the opportunity, so you can like time trial.
Right.
So there was the 100 breast event. It was prelim final, so that's 2 swims. I could do a time trial, so that's a third. And then in like the longer events, so 200 breast, you can do like a finish and then continue the race and just not get DQ'd, and they'll get your 100 split, and that can be a time. So that's 2 more races. So 5 races, like 5 chances basically. Yeah. Like you have a lane, you have a chance. I had 5 chances that meet, and then there was 2 more meets after that. So this meet was kind of just like, we got you in. Let's see what happens.
Right. Yeah. Good luck.
The first race, I added 2 tenths, and I got the trials cut.
Wow.
And
we'll take it. That was it, huh?
Yeah.
That's all you had to do.
Yep. I got the trials cut exactly. So my fastest time ever was a 1:10.79, and that happened to be in 2018 the exact U.S. National long course cut. Because for long course nationals, U.S. Opens, you can go in with a long course cut or a short course cut. Right. So I went to that meet with the short course cut. I dropped a bunch of time and got the exact long course cut.
Nice.
So I got the trials cut exactly with the 1:10.99, which is kind of crazy that meet had a faster qualifying time than trials. It is just all dependent on like how many people come to this meet actually with that time, and it's kind of an indicator of what the cuts should be based on how many people get that time, because they want to like limit the amount of people just so that it's really the 1% of the 1%.
Right,
that makes sense.
So you hit this time, and what's the first thought of your mind when you look up and see the time on the clock?
Oh my God, thank the Lord. I literally I just hear a lot of screaming because I was like, my head's in the gutter, because I'm like, I really didn't think it was a great swim. Mm-hmm. I thought my turn was awful. I thought it was slow. And then I just hear a bunch of cheering. Because it's like an age group meet. Or 15, 16-year-olds. Maybe one kid that's trying to get their the trials cut, but they're like a second off. Mm-hmm. And it was the first race of the day, too.
Yeah. You set the tone for the rest of the day.
Yeah. So I look at the board. And it was kind of like fuzzy because it was like that's just how boards are at pools. And I was like, is that a 99? Is that a 10.99? Right. And I hear my coach, like he does his whistle, and I was like, oh, I got it.
Wow. Yes, you won this altitude. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yo. So after that race, how long did you have to prepare for the trials?
I think it was 3 weeks, so we just extended my taper.
Okay.
Yeah. By the last week, I was literally going into practice, doing a warm-up, doing 425s fast off the block.
Right.
Cool down, leave.
That's just like a track taper. It was literally almost the exact same thing. You get towards like big.
Yeah, it honestly is.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Go in a little bit, just make sure your body good.
Exactly.
Check engine light.
Just checking in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how nervous were you leading up, going into the trials?
Not at all.
Not nervous. You were just ready for the moment.
I was like, there's some people that go into trials in any sport and they're like, I really want to make the team. Mm-hmm. I was there like, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm happy to be here. I mean, my goal is to go up in place. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, I'm sure track the same. There's a bunch of people there that add a bunch of time. So it's kind of easy to go up if you're right on your time.
Yeah.
And then,
Yes, that was statement.
So I really just went in, like, just soaking it all in because it was my last meet ever. And just, like, seeing everything happen. You got the huge card. With it being COVID, you do the ID scan, and then they scan your card, and very, very official. It was just so cool. Mm-hmm. It was just so cool, and I was the second or third day of racing. I can't remember, but it was just so fun. I got up on the plex and I swam, and I went at 112, but I had been tapered for 6 weeks at that point, which is a very long taper. So I was like, I didn't lose. I got second in my heat, and I went up in place. It was like, sounds like a good swim to me.
Perfect scenario, right?
Yeah.
Man, that's amazing, bro. I don't know anybody that went to any type of Olympic trials. So, I mean, just to be able to hear you sit and just talk to you about this is just like super insane. What was your mindset like knowing it was like kind of your last race? Like, you were at peace with it? Were you at all like sad or was it just like a mix of emotions?
Yeah, it was a mix. I was like, I mean, it was a whole extra year that I didn't know I was going to have to do.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I didn't have to. I chose to.
Exactly.
So, I'm sure if it was like 2020, I would have been more sad. But at that point, I was like, after this, I literally started. We did online school for summer for masters. Literally that next week, school started. So I was like, my swimming career is coming to an end, and now I get to move on to like being a real adult person.
Next chapter.
Yeah. Next chapter, being a real adult.
Being a real adult. How was that chapter for you?
How was the transition?
Good. It was so weird having so much time.
Oh, yeah.
I had so much time just because it was like you go to school or internship, and then what else do you do with your day?
Jesus.
Granted, our internship, the way I did it was very fast-tracked. So I did a 1,200-hour internship and a full master's program in 14 months.
Wow.
So our schedule was, and it varied based off the location that we were at because we changed every 2 weeks for our internship. But it was 8 hours a day, Thursday through Friday for internship until like our last 3 weeks, which is our like staff relief. So we basically go in and make it a Monday through Friday. We're taking 75% of whoever our preceptor is patients. So we're basically doing their job for them with them making sure we're doing it right. So we had that from like 8 to 4, 7 to 3, whenever they wanted you to come in, but 8 hours. And then after that, the fall and spring semester, it was Monday, Wednesday classes, 5:30 to 8:30. So Tuesday, Thursday, Friday was pretty easy. Mondays were like us going in and learning about kind of every different nutrition thing you can learn. There was a community day. There was like a sports nutrition day, since we don't really learn about that in the internship. The interns ourselves, part of our internship was hosting one of those Monday sessions, we called them. So that took up a bunch of our time. And then the summer, since it was an 8-week course, we were doing the internship from the 7 to 4, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we had class 5:30 to 8:30. So that was, the summer kind of sucked the most.
Yeah, it sounds busy.
But it was the least amount of time, and I was pretty lucky. I was one of the first done because I didn't have, some people had breaks in between just because that's how it worked out for them and the sites and everything. So I only had 3 weeks of doing that schedule where it was like leaving at 6:30 to get to the site at 7 and not getting home until 9.
It's 3 weeks. Looking at all that time that you like put in though, do you like where you ended up? Do you like
of course.
Yeah, where the lifestyle took you?
I love Nebraska. I love it.
In Nebraska.
Yeah, Nebraska is like I did 5 years here. Yeah. Essentially, it's my bonus year I call it, and spent a year at SLU, and Dave was like, come back, come work with us, be the 2-year temp, let's get you back in sports, because he knew I wanted to do sports.
Right.
And I mean, Nebraska is literally the best sports nutrition program in the country.
Honestly, I honestly believe you when you say that. Like, out of everyone we met that works there, like, the vibe is completely different. We were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many big programs coming up with like their training tables. When I was being recruited in 2015, I went to Minnesota and they were like, oh, we'll have a training table when you're a sophomore. So it's like training table is a thing now.
Yeah.
Right.
At Nebraska, I mean, when I was being recruited, we already had a training table. But what Dave did was just crazy. So he came in my start of my junior year, end of sophomore year. So I saw what they were doing before, and it was good. It was a good program. But what Dave and Lisa and the whole team did, it's like nobody can keep up. Nobody can keep up. It doesn't matter how good any other programs like actual athletics are. In comparison to us, like our nutrition program is the best. Yeah. It's the best.
Fun fact, Dave was actually LeBron James' ex-nutritionist. I just found that out today.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, what?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's probably why you made such amazing changes out here. Honestly, that's
I was hearing everything she said, and it kind of resonated with me. It was like, oh, yeah, that's probably why. Like, this dude is really...
That makes sense.
He's been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh. And then the people's lives he touched, too. Like, the way he influenced your life and your decisions like that, that's crazy.
Yeah. I was actually... So I came in as a freshman wanting to be a forensic pathologist because I liked all those like coroner shows, CSI, and I was like, that's cool, I want to do that. And so I was forensic biochem major coming in as a freshman.
Wow. Loaded plate, just going right for it.
And then you have to take law classes, like forensic law and all that, and I was like, I think it's forensic law. It was some law class. I was like, I hate this. I don't want to do that. Right. So a lot of my teammates were like exercise science majors, and I was like, well, you still have to go to medical school to be a forensic pathologist. I'll go the health science track because it gets me all of my requirements for that. And OChem 2 happened. Twice.
Twice.
It happened twice. And I was like, I hate this. I can't do OChem 2. And I was kind of thinking, you only need 4 nutrition classes for that degree. And I was like, those are my favorite classes. I don't want to do hard biochem 2. I don't want to do hard physics 2. And I can't pass OChem 2. I tried it twice. I failed it twice.
Dang.
Well, I didn't fail it twice. I passed it the second time.
Hey, there we go. You were prepared.
Passed it the second time, and I was like, Nawani was our dietitian, and I was like, I want to do that. Yeah. That's what I want to do. So I was like, those shows are like a hobby. That's a hobby thing. I don't need to do that.
It's not a lifestyle.
But whatever Nawani is doing, like, that's what I want to do. Because I knew I liked the nutrition classes. So I switched my major spring semester, junior year of college.
Oh, man. Wow.
To nutrition dietetics.
That's little...
It's a kind of an easy switch, but there's, like, certain classes that are, like, in conjunction with each other. Oh, yeah. And then those 3, it was, like, only in the fall, only in the spring, so I couldn't take them incongruent with each other. Yeah. So that's why I did the extra semester.
Got you.
But
so like when it comes to that switch though, like how was it when it came to like your prereqs and the other classes? You said that you were good because they
they're kind of simultaneous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's still in the nutrition. It's just a different branch.
Yeah.
So it's like nutrition, exercise science, nutrition dietetics, which isn't a thing anymore. It's now just only a master's. But then there's also nutrition health sciences, which is like the pre-med track.
Okay.
So I just switched tracks.
I got you. So fast forwarding to today, I know what is your 3rd day at the training table, 4th day at the training table?
Yeah.
Just about how is it up there? Actually working behind the scenes and
Good. I worked there actually when I was doing my bonus year, October 2020 to June 2021. I took a week off so I could focus on my trials, and then I came back to work.
Wow. Hey guys, just try out the Olympics real quick.
And then I was like, I have to move to St. Louis, so I stopped at the end of June. So I had already kind of figured out the layout and what they were doing as a student worker and an on-call worker once I finally graduated. So I saw some familiar faces, saw the people that I trained, they're now the leads, and I'm like, oh, good.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I was gonna talk about that too. When you were training for the trials too, and then you were talking about how you were helping the younger girls kind of look up, that had to be so inspirational for them to be having you up there as a coach too.
Yeah.
If you think about that, she's
I
going
wasn't
to
a
trials.
coach. I was in there swimming.
I know you were swimming,
Yeah,
but you basically you were on another level though. You're literally going for the trials, and they're coming in oh
no.
my god.
No, I did that. I told them, I was like, your goal, because I have the Nebraska record in the 2IM for long course and short course. Mm-hmm. And I told them, I was like, your goal is to beat me. I'm doing this so you can beat me. They were like, all right.
Did they?
Let's go.
They haven't done it yet.
Oh, okay.
It's in process. Loading.
I was like, I want someone I know to beat that time.
Yeah.
That time is meant to be broken. That's why it's a record.
Right.
Break it.
What was the previous record before you broke it?
The previous record.
Do you even remember or no?
She's like,
I do.
It's long gone.
I do.
I'm the record.
It was from 1997.
Oh.
That was
good for 20 years.
Yeah, 21. Because that was the year I was born. It was Julia Russell. She was an Australian Olympian. 97, the swim team was really, really, really good. Teresa is still talked about in the swimming community. She was a sprint freestyler. Just amazing. But I looked at that time every day because my goal when I came to Nebraska was to break 2 minutes. That was a big barrier for IM. I came in with a 2:00:24.
That's close.
And that's my Missouri state record still. I'm happy about
You're
that.
still a state record holder down there? Wow.
Dang.
Yeah. So I was like, her time was a 1:59.6-ish, mid. So I was like, I'm going to break her record.
You're right there. You're knocking on the door as a high schooler.
Yeah. So my sophomore year is when I did it. I broke her record by 0.2, so I was 1:59 right there. Yeah.
1:59.6 or 1:59.7. It was right in between.
Yeah. So mid-season, I had just missed it, and then Big Tens, I broke it by 3 or 4 tenths. So still 1:59.
Nice. Yeah.
Did you win with that time at Big Tens too or no?
Oh gosh, no. That was a C final. We got Olympians. We got Olympians in Big Ten.
And y'all have real competition, Big Ten. Yo, that's crazy. Cause I'm thinking about your time, the record that you have. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yo, this is insane. And you're like, no, not at all.
Gosh,
it's
what did that place is?
20th that year. 20th.
Wow. So was it just an insane?
I think.
Was it just a stacked year?
Yeah, top 16, and then our C final. So, it's a very close with swim. So, top 8 is kind of in their top 3 is really in their own, depending on who's there. Sometimes it's just top 2 that's right there. So it's 151, 153, and then top 8. It kind of goes from that 151 to 156, which is a very big time difference. And then B final, it's around 157s. And this is coming from senior year, from when I can actually remember. 157 to 159 low, like 159.2.
Wow.
So closer. And for C final, if you're going 200 mid, you're not making it.
Oh, dang.
That's how close it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those times are insane. Like,
Yes.
they're all, like, literally mashed.
So my senior year is when I did the B final, and I broke my own record, and I went that 158.2. And I was
Okay.
like,
That's
It's a big drop.
yeah,
it's a big drop.
and it was actually exactly a 2-second drop from my high school time. So it was
Wow.
a 158.24, and that's how I remember that. The
And
2.4.
did that one place you end up way higher Big Tens or no?
That was, I got 4th in the B final. B final is 9th through 16th. I'm bad at math. 9, 10, 11. I got 12th.
That's both.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, 20 to 12. That's insane.
And the record right now is 158.
158.24.
Hey.
158.24. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna go in there and look at it.
I
now.
am
Like,
too.
They haven't updated it yet.
Oh, they
It's
haven't even
still,
updated it?
No, they haven't updated it yet.
Oh, what,
It's-
your sophomore year or junior year?
The one that they have up there is my sophomore year.
So
Your
you gotta
sophomore
get your
year.
senior year.
Yeah, my
you gotta-
senior
let's-
year.
Let's get on
It's
that.
a whole, it's like a banner type.
Oh, yeah.
So whenever someone gets a record,
Mhm.
they have to redo the entire banner and get another one.
Oh.
And around that time, we were all just re-breaking our records, me and
Yeah.
Autumn, and then the relays. So
They were like, hold off on that. Like,
yeah,
let's just
hold
wait
off-
till
hold
they're
off a
figure it
little
out.
bit.
So I want to go back how you came back from the trials and you were coaching up you were their teammate, but you were like coaching up the athletes here. Would you ever consider coaching like the swim team here at Nebraska?
At Nebraska?
Yeah, or anywhere at that matter. Would you
Anywhere?
ever consider coaching?
Oh yeah, I considered it. I mean, just as like a thing to do. Like
Yeah.
you always have to have a backup plan. I'm like applying for my internship through the diecast and everything. I'm like, if I don't get in, I know there's coaches in Kansas City that are like, we want you to coach for us, blah blah blah. And I was like, at least I know I have that.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, I would for sure. And I have some coaching experience from like high school and doing privates and everything.
Oh yeah.
So
That's good.
yeah, so I have a little bit of experience with that, and I love swimming, so I would for sure consider it. But
And you're more than qualified for the job too. Most definitely.
yeah.
I think that'd be amazing if you did end up coming back coaching. I mean, that'd be super cool. Coming back from dietetics and then coming back from
You got a
nutrition
lot
as
more
well.
knowledge, yeah, and you can help him out with you can help him with everything. Teach him, just calculate.
Definitely.
That's amazing.
Well, awesome, Tori. Is there anything else you want to cover on this podcast? Go over anything that you kind of missed?
I don't know. Do you have any questions?
Hmm.
Anything? I don't know.
I don't know. This is like we literally built up your whole entire timeline. That was super cool. Just seeing like where you started when you were 13, and then fast forwarded in 10 years, like Olympic qualifier.
How are your bones now?
Yeah, how's your body? How's your body? That's
Yeah.
a great question.
That is a good question.
Yeah, there's-
yeah.
the growth place when you were 13.
Yeah,
So man,
like-
that had to do something.
Well, that's a funny one. So it didn't heal right. I mean, it's so many years. 10 plus years later, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But like high school, 13, 14, like holding things like this, it would just like collapse.
God.
So like a 10-pound weight, when you're doing like curls and that's just a normal thing, it'd pinch right here.
Oh.
And I just couldn't. It just,
Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
really messed you up.
yeah. And my ankles, I mean, they're fine. They're whatever.
I could walk.
They're
But
cool.
it was honestly why I was like more than okay with being done with swim was because I was in the training room every single day from the end of my freshman year until I stopped swimming,
Oh yeah,
doing
no.
stuff. So doing breaststroke is a very, very hard stroke to do in terms of the technique of it, and doing that like frog kick is, I mean, knees aren't supposed to rotate,
Yeah.
but in breaststroke they do. So going from not training breaststroke at all to training it every single day and needing it to be quality and fast and not having the full technique there all the way, my knees, it was the week after finals, it was like I guess what happened was my quads got so tight that it pulled my patella up and started pinching everything.
Oh, no.
What?
So it hurt really, really, really bad to move. And when you don't move something because it hurts, it gets stiff. And then you can't move it even more. So that whole I was on crutches for like a week because we were trying to figure out what was wrong with it because I literally couldn't stand on it. I called my trainer crying in the middle of the night being like, my knee hurts so bad I can't fall asleep. What do I do? Like how, I think it was like the last day of finals. I was like, how am I supposed to get to my final?
Oh my God. How did you get to your final?
Yeah.
That's when I got the crutches.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and then we did a lot of PT on it and MRI, figured out that I was just really, really, really tight from trying to figure out how to do breaststroke, blah, blah, blah. Senior year of high school gym class, I like stretched like this and heard a huge pop.
Oh my God.
And it ended up being that I dislocated my rotator cuff, and that pop was me popping it back in.
Oh, wow.
So
what? You didn't know you dislocated it? You was just chilling and stretching? Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that feels a lot better.
Oh, no, it hurt way more after that. And that's why I went in, and they were like, we think this happened. So I had right shoulder problems since then. And then with, like, my knee problems, it kind of started using your arms more because there was, like, that whole summer from going from freshman to sophomore year, I couldn't do any kick.
Oh, man.
And I still did meets. I still did breaststroke. And the hilarious thing about it is you have to do breaststroke kick in a breaststroke event. You can't do fly or flutter kick or else you'll get DQ'd. And so my coaches were like, we just want you to swim the race, keep that like flow. We're not looking for a time for you. Like we expect you to get DQ'd because you literally can't do breaststroke kick.
Yeah.
I did it for one meet because it was world trials. So I did the 100 breast. I was like, I can't do a 200. We scratched the 200. I did the 200 IM, I think, because it was only a 50 breaststroke. And that was my one meet I did breaststroke kick at. And practice, I didn't do breaststroke kick. Meets, I didn't do breaststroke kick. But at meets, nobody was DQing me.
Oh.
Until sectionals, where it was the first year, it was in Nebraska, they finally DQ'd me, and my whole team started clapping. Because they were like, you finally got it. You finally got it. You got her.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So doing that, I was using my arms more and kind of the flare up of my shoulders from using it more.
Yeah.
And so I still have an impingement. My trainer thinks it was kind of arthritis issues and tendinitis.
Oh,
and
man.
The way she explained it to me, because I was like, it's a very sharp pain, like during practice, and then after practice, it's a very dull pain. And like if I move it, it's sharp, it hurts to sleep, I can't sleep. She was like, well, the impingement is when you're swimming, after you're swimming is the tendinitis. That's how I was explained. I don't know. I'm not a trainer. I don't know. But that's how it was explained to me. So it was my right shoulder. I was doing a lot of PT with it. There was one point where it was like hurting to turn a car. It was a very, very sharp pain. Yeah. And then I was on for a week a rheumatoid I guess it was a week I wasn't doing any arm things, like swim wise. Yeah. And then it didn't get better. I literally couldn't do. Have you ever done like the ITY dub rows that like a lot of baseball players do? It's like you're on a medicine ball, the Bosu ball, the big balls, and you're laying down and you're going like.
I've seen that before.
Yeah. I couldn't like move my arm more than this. I was literally making me cry. So my trainer was like, "You literally can't do the movements to make it better. You need to get some pain medicine." And I don't like medicine. There is a time and place when you're like sick and it's like that time of medicine.
Yeah.
Don't like any painkillers. It's just not my style.
Yeah.
So I was like, fine. And I went to the doctor, he checked me out, and I told him, I was like, I'm not taking any medicine that I have to take more than once a day. If I have to take it more than once a day, I'm probably not going to take it at all.
Yeah.
So it was some weird name, but it was a rheumatoid arthritis medicine. It was a very strong opioid.
They always giving the good stuff. Is it
Yeah.
Albers?
It started with an M. And it was some weird...
Meloxicam?
Yeah.
What?
I think that's what it was.
How'd you know?
Yeah.
Because they gave it to me too.
This dude.
They gave it to me too.
And so, it's a 14-day, and they don't replace it until you come back and reassess you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did, and I was like, I'm only taking this one bottle. I get through it. The next day, and I would always take it after practice.
Mm-hmm.
The day that it was like, okay, I'm not taking it anymore, I could not get through practice.
Yeah, it will do it to you. That pain that is strong, bro.
Yeah.
Like you were just like drowsy, or what was it like?
No, it was like, I took it day one. I went to practice the next day, and it was like I was completely fixed.
Good.
There was nothing wrong with me. And then 24 hours of not taking it, I am back to what I was before.
Yeah.
So my trainer was like, okay, just one more round, please. I was like, fine.
Hey,
So I was on it for a month, and again, same thing. It wasn't as drastic of like I'm 100% better, and 24 hours later of not taking it, 100% not better, but it wasn't 100% either.
Yeah.
Like it was still a very strong, like sharp pain, and I was like, I'm not taking another one. We have to figure something out. I can do the exercises, so we can figure something out. She was like, I don't want you taking any more either, because a month on that
she's feeling good.
Bro,
a month on that
doesn't
is
heal you. It's just like it's a pain med. It does your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that, and since this one hurt, overcompensating with this shoulder. So this one, that they're both like that. This one is just way worse.
Yeah.
And then when this one flares up, it's about as bad, but it's not. It gets better easier.
Yeah.
And then same thing with my knees. They're both bad. My bonus year, instead of being my right knee, it was my left knee. But my shoulders were good, but my knees. So the joke was, we're just trying to get you through to the end. We're not trying to make you better. We're just trying to get you through until trials is over.
The taper had to feel amazing then, if just doing 4 reps and then all right, bye, go do whatever you got to do
to the trainers.
Better. Exactly, to the trainers you go.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So right now you're still like, are you good?
So I said how it was like hard to sleep.
Yeah.
My whole swimming career, after like the real shoulder pain, I couldn't sleep on my right shoulder at all.
Dang.
I can kind of now. It has gotten better. I can lay on it for about 30 minutes-ish before my arm goes like completely numb, and not in a way of my arm's asleep and tingly. It's like I can't feel my fingers numb. Because you know how they do the one test of like you put your arm back like this and they're feeling your pulse, and it's some...
I don't know what
Oh my gosh. I don't know what it's called, but they do that, and it's a rare thing. But the way my impingement was, it was on my nerve. And whenever they would do that test, I would lose my pulse. So I had something.
It's just blocking your arm off, bro.
Yeah. So, and that was when it was really bad. I don't know if it's a thing that comes and goes. I don't know. But they said that I had this syndrome.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah. We know how it happened.
This just shows your love for the sport, honestly. If you're willing to put up with all of this just to, get to where you got to, I mean, that is honestly, inspiring, bro. So I vouch for you to, put up with all of this stuff to get to that point. Because like I said, you were dealing with this since you were 13. An injury led you into swimming, and then swimming was a whole bunch of trials and tribulations while you're breaking records, while you're going through trials. I mean, that is just truly, that's insane.
I mean, yeah. But the part of the reason I came to Nebraska was because of the supporting staff and the coaches, and I went into it with Pablo being okay, we do our scholarships based on how our recruits would place at the year prior's Big Tens. He was you wouldn't, and it was if you're top 24, you would get this much amount for each race that you're in, top 24, top 16, top 8, first, obviously, you're at a full ride. He was you're right at, the 32, 36 for most of your races. It's not getting you that top 24, but I see the potential in you, and Pat was I see it too. We're giving you scholarship money for, we want you here, we need you here, we can make you something.
Yeah.
And just them being we don't care that you're not already scoring.
They believed in you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And doing the recruiting trip and seeing everything they had, and all the big people, all the big trainers that are going to help us and everything, we're all coming around, saying hi, what they do, why they do what they do.
Yeah.
It was wow, there's a lot of support staff, and I mean, then when you're an athlete, it's even more so. So it was, I mean, if I wasn't at Nebraska, I don't know if I would be able to have done what I did.
Yeah, that support system, I feel is one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, because I mean, comparing if you were in an alternate universe, we're not going to go in that deep into that, but alternate universe, but that version of you, if they didn't have that type of support system, I don't there's no way you could really succeed with that. Well, I mean, you can, but it's a lot more difficult.
Yeah, especially with COVID, because it's I had to do my physical again, because you have to do a physical to be a training with a college team. And then you have certain access that, I mean, the Edge 10 became a thing, doing all the surveys. I mean, the bubbles were a thing. So it was a coach easily could have told me, no, that's too much work. That's another girl in our bubble, another exposure point.
I didn't even think about that, yeah.
And my coaches were yeah.
Get her in.
There's no question. If you're coming, you're coming. If you don't want to, okay.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a question for them. And they easily could have said, we need to focus on our college swimmers. We need to focus on how to navigate COVID. And how navigate the sports. Because I'm also, them going to Big Tens is a whole nother bubble. They have an athlete that isn't going there. I'm not in that bubble kind of thing. All the bubbles. Yeah. And then I'm working at the training table. I'm in all the different athlete bubbles.
Dang, yeah.
Yeah.
They're clutch. Your coaches are freaking.
They made a great investment.
They did though.
It's literally safe to say they made a great investment. That is just truly insane. I mean, looking back at all of it, is there anything that you would change?
Anything I would change? My junior year, I tell all of my, I guess, younger teammates, especially the ones that my bonus year, I wasn't supposed to be one of their seniors, and they were my freshmen, my second year freshmen. Right. And they're having boy problems and everything, because that's all what it stemmed from.
Yeah.
I was don't worry about him. If he's causing you stress, this much stress, just, he needs to go. It doesn't matter. You need to focus on this. If you can't, because of that point, or literally any other point in your life, especially social life, you don't need it, because you're gonna regret anything that happens. Like, if you don't do well at Big Tens and you look back and you're like, I was crying, bawling the whole week. I was supposed to be tapering and resting and relaxing. Yeah. You're not, like, and it was because of a boy. Ridiculous.
It's a waste of time. Boys are a waste of time, right?
Yeah. Boys are a waste of time.
Here we are.
No, but that's
right. True. Yeah. I mean, you do have to, whenever you have something that negative in your life, like, you literally have to cut it out no matter how attached you are to it, or, you know, in that sense. So would you say your regret was, like, not telling them to do that, or?
My regret was putting up with it, honestly. Like, putting up with just, like, I like to get a problem or something done right away, so I don't have to fester about it, be thinking about it all the time. And I told him that, and he was like, no, we can talk in a week when you're done with everything. And I'm just like, I want to talk. And I'm like, please just talk to me. And he's like, fine. And then when we talk, you'd be screaming and everything. And
it was all bad.
It just made it worse.
Yeah. Right. On top of trying to chase that world mark too, because wasn't that the year you also had to shave 2 seconds? Or was that, or the 0.2 seconds?
Yeah, that was the start of the year. So it was the 2018-2019 season was my junior year. So that November 18 was the start of you can get your trials cut. Gotcha. And I got my time August 2018. Okay. It was just right there. So I was like, okay, I need to get trials cut because it's not within the deadlines. Right. So it was just all that. And that's why I didn't get it the 2019 year. And then I broke up with him and I did good. Yeah. Good at Big Tens.
Positive correlation.
Yeah.
Literally. So if you had any advice for any up-and-coming female swimmers, what advice would you have to give them?
I guess for the people that are, like, looking at colleges right now, it would be look at the schools that no matter what happens, and I was told this too, go to the school, do all of your recruiting trips. If the school isn't, like, top tier, like, we're not Alabama, like, you're being recruited by all different levels. Right. Go to the school that you feel and you have the feelings, you know. If something happened, if you tore your labrum and can never swim again, if you tear your ACL and can never run again, if you can finish school there and be happy. Yeah. If the city is a city that you could live in. And then, because you can go by coach, but a coach might leave. Right. You can go by team, but the team changes every single year. It's a whole new team every single year. You have to learn how the team works every single year. So going by those is good, but it's not the best, I would say. I would say go to the place where you're like, this is home. I had 5 lined up, and I went to Nebraska, my 3rd trip, and I was like, this is home. This is home to me. Like, the coaches were amazing. A big part of me going there was that I wasn't, like, an afterthought to them. One of the places I was recruited at, they called me back, and they were like, we really want you here, but we ran out of money. Like, you would be a walk-on, but, like, walk-ons, like, go way far in our program. Like, you can get a scholarship. You don't want to be an afterthought. And
you broke a state record. You have all those state titles too.
Yeah,
you knew your value. You knew your worth.
And it was still a Big Ten program.
Right. Yeah.
But I was like, I'd rather go to the school that felt like home. And the coaches are like, give us a number, right? And we'll do it because we want you here.
Yeah, exactly.
And the girls on our recruiting trip were awesome. My recruiting trip specifically was known as the recruiting trip where the cops got called.
What? Was that wild?
No, it wasn't even wild. We were having a bonfire, and the swim team is very, very strict on alcohol. Uh-huh. So, and especially with recruits, so no alcohol at all. Okay. They were just like playing music. It was 10th court. That's where the swimmers live. Just having a bunch of fun. And the cops walk along the side of the house because they hear it. And we're like, hey, what's up? Like, what's wrong? And my captains go over there, and they're like, we got a call for a noise complaint. They're like, there's a party going on. And the captains at the time were like, well, yeah, but we have recruits. You want to, like, walk around just to make sure nothing's happening? And they're like, okay. And then they left, and they're like, just turn the music down a little bit. Yeah. Like, it's cool. And the captains at the time were like, nobody tell the coaches. Like, oh, my gosh, this is so bad. They were so scared. And then I remember the next day, Pat, like, we were all in a circle, like, talking, because that's what you do with the recruits. And Pat came in, he was like, so how was last night?
Oh, my gosh.
And we were all like, oh, it was good, it was fun, it was low-key, it was just a bonfire. And he was like, anything special happened?
Spectacular.
And we were like, no, not at all.
I already knew.
And then a year later when we got on campus, he was like, you were the recruiting weekend that the cops got called, right? And I was like, you knew. Yeah.
That's crazy too, because 2016, that was a long time ago, but that was a great year. Mm-hmm. Like, just
2016 was
2016 was an elite year. I just feel like everything in that year was just like times 10.
Yeah,
it's gonna sound, I don't know, it's gonna sound crazy, but in 2016, bro, I was literally like an 8th grader. I don't mean to like make you feel old. I
graduated high school in 2016.
That's so
I don't know
crazy.
where I was at.
Where were you at? You don't even know. It's just
I gotta do
vibing.
Yeah.
What year were you born?
2001.
Oh my gosh. You would have been. My brother, I think, was a sophomore in high school. You're 2 years younger than him, so you would have been in 8th grade or 7th grade.
Really? Well, that's crazy because he's a senior, and I'm a sophomore. I was born in 02.
Yeah, so the seniors this year were my freshmen. So you were a freshman in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, you were a freshman in high school then.
All right.
I guess.
Dang.
I guess. Oh my gosh, I'm a little.
God. I'm sorry.
Maybe you were in 8th grade because I guess it was last year's.
No, I know for a fact I was in 8th grade, so you were probably, you were right. You were probably a sophomore.
Yeah. Sophomore. Okay.
What year are you?
Right now, I'm a sophomore.
Yeah, I'm 2 years old, so yeah, sophomore.
Yeah.
But I'm like late 2002. I'm like December.
We can figure it out.
Man, I'm bad at math.
Yeah, see, I was like, I gotta do math. I'm over here like, dang. But that's insane though, man. We do appreciate you coming up. Is there anything else you want to tap into before you wrap it up?
I don't think so, unless you have more questions.
Anything controversial?
Controversial?
Within the swimming world? I don't know if you want to get into that.
It's whatever.
Like, you want to or you don't want to?
She's just living.
It's... Nah.
Yeah.
That's fair. I understand. All right. Oh, speaking of which, I don't got it. How would you like if you got a Timeless Talk shirt? Right here. He got one on.
I don't want to have it on me, but I can get
I got one in the bag, but
yes.
We want to get one for like everyone who's been on the show, like just to show support and then show that you had enough freaking strength and want to share your story with us,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
So we're gonna hook you up. I'll send you a picture of photos of what we have after the show.
Okay.
So then I'll get you hooked up with it. But yes.
Awesome.
We really appreciate you coming on, Tori. Congratulations to everything that you've done for these past few years. It was an honor having you on the show, and we'll love to have you back. Maybe with some new recruits or swimmers or whatever we can think of.
Coaching the athletes.
Oh my
maybe get your coach on here too. Who knows?
Pat would. Oh my gosh, he's a talker.
It would be amazing. So yeah, like I said, thank you so much for coming on. Chris, do you want to close it out?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is great to be back here, back home at the Nebraska office. Y'all know we got the radio station, too. But we got tapped in with the freaking Olympic trial. Amazing dietetics.
I'm taking the RD exam in October. So RD soon to be in October.
Oh, there we go. See, I'm speaking in existence. We just got tapped in, and we learned a lot. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us again. And we're tapping out here on Timeless Talks.
Timeless Talks out. Peace.